About seeing spirit in a new build house, and also the individual asked this question is because is that how it's working for you, whether you see spirit, hear spirit, or sense spirit, or whatever it is, because it's very different for each and every one of us when we have that interconnectedness, that relationship, when we are starting to see spirits, starting to grow in our intuition and our psychic abilities. So it can be very different. So yeah, I remember when I first saw mine as well, I was like, oh my God, was that my imagination? Now, it's about what feels right for you. So somebody will feel it, see it, know it, or whatever it is, okay? And the feeling that you feel, your gut instinct, the minute that happens is when you see it, it's that you're right. You've seen it, it's there. Okay, there's no denying that the spirit is there. And I'm checking in with them now, and you did see spirit, right? Now, people would say, but if it's a new build, you know, what about this thing about ghosts and everything? Now, we know ghosts is literally, it's more like an echo of an imprint of something that's happened, or a situation, or maybe that individual might need moving on, just depends. There's so many levels to this. So, okay, Nikki, they just said, we've been talking about how energy fields are auric fields, and about what we send out information, because we're sending out information all the time. You know, whether we get on a bus and we sit next to somebody, we're like, oh, not too sure if we feel like the feeling of them, because it's their energy fields we're picking up on. Now, this individual that you saw in your house, an older man, and you've also seen a little Yorkshire Terrier as well, but never had one, they may be attached, they may not. This could just be energy of the individual who would have walked past that area or walked across that land. You know, I went to Hastings this weekend, and when I was walking through the town, there was a lot of information, because it's like a blueprint that's left in the foundations of the area, and they can get dislodged and moved about. So it doesn't need to be exactly pinpoint exactly when something happened. Now, I do feel that individual was spirit, and they did come along and have a little look, what's going on. That sometimes that spirit can be from a relative, distant relative, to check in what's going on. There may be some connection like that. It could be, if it's not a new build, it could be connected to the fabric of the building, in the sense of they are still attached to their building. When I moved into this house, I remember a couple of days into this house where I am now, I've been here 12 years, I was in the garden doing some gardening, and I remember I was digging, and the next minute I know I actually did topple over. I was bending over because I felt an energy behind me. It was like came rushing in, and then I was like, whoa. And I was like, who are you? And it was the gentleman that used to live here, that used to do the garden, and he was a big gardening fan. He was checking to see what I was doing, and I said, it's okay, I've got the garden, it's all under control, I'll take care of it. So sometimes we can just get them to come in, they check on what we're doing, have a little look around. And sometimes there can also be guides. So you may have also seen a guide that stepped forward. It may be a guide that may be connected to you, or somebody else who was around you on that day, another human being, living human being. So it just depends on why we've come to visit. So if that happens again, it would be to sit with it. You can communicate with them, ask them. You know, you might not want to speak it out, but you might want to communicate in a way like telepathically, and they're hearing the information. Before you finish your sentence, they're most likely going to answer it. So that's another way of finding out if this is spirit or whatever it is. To communicate, ask in your mind, who are you? Why are you here? What are you showing me? And see, they might want to verbally, you might be able to audio hear it, or sense it, or feel it, or see it. But check in with it. So that's another good way. If you're not sure, check in, ask them to step forward. Why are you here? What can I do? Can I help you? It's like, you know, introduce yourself. It's about that. You know, when as a medium that I am, I introduce myself to whoever's on the other side that needs to come through to give a message. I always say it's rude. You know, when we pick up the phone, it's not, what do you want? It's like, hello, can I help you? Who are you? And it's the same way of communication. So it's anytime we come across any spirit or anything, we're not sure if it is spirit or not, communicate with it. Why are you here? What can I do? Is there something that you need me to say to somebody? Is it something? Is there a reason why you need to be here? Does that make sense? Maybe that's how you see spirit. I mean, I don't like seeing spirit because it freaks me out, says the medium. But, you know, I mean, the first time, the first time, I can't remember the first time because there's so many times I've seen spirit. But one of the times I was actually in the cinema watching the suffragette film, and I was on the end of the row of the seats, and I had one of my best buddies sitting here, and we were watching it, and we was really intrigued, and the energy in the cinema, because us that were watching was like, oh, that was shocking what would have happened. I know it's dramatized for us to see, but we're like, oh, you know, and we were all feeling it. So you can imagine our energy and the whole cinema, the way it was feeling. And then suddenly at the corner of my eye, I was like, why is my friend looking at me? And this woman was like peering, turning her head towards me. I'm on the end of the row, right? I've forgotten. So I'm watching the film. I've got my friend on this side, but for some reason I've gone, what is she looking at? So I could feel and sort of see something, and I was like, what the hell? And then I looked at her, and I didn't go, oh, I just looked at her. I could see every fine detail, and she had a hat on, and she was dressed in that period of that history period, and I was like, and I had to take stock, and I was like, reality kicked in, and I was like, oh God. And so I grabbed my friend's hand, and I went, you're sitting next to me. She goes, yeah, I know. What are you doing, stupid? And I went, this woman's got a hat on and she's looking at me. And I turned around, and as I turned around, she smiled, and then she disappeared, and I was like, oh my God, I freaked out. She was a suffragette that came in to say, hi, look, you, and she knows I'm a medium. And I was like sitting there, and I was so scared. So I was sitting there trembling, and I'm the medium. But I hate seeing spirit. I prefer that they've just gently come in behind me. And, you know, I remember I had an interview, which I don't know if I should share this or not, but I had an interview at College of Psychic Studies, where I'm a consultant now. And to get the position, you have to, sit with a trustee and other people and everything else. And I remember I was preparing myself, and I was like, I really want this position. I really do want this position. And it's really a rare opportunity to be given the opportunity to even apply for this, because it's not like a job advert that goes out there. They hand choose you to say, we want you to work for us. But I had to prove myself. And I remember I had my eyes closed, and I was doing my meditation and everything. And I was like, please, I was talking to the college building in my head, please, I must get this. I really want this. I really want some help. If there's anyone there, can you just help me? Well, I did ask, right? So I opened my eyes, and as I opened my eyes, this man was like face to face, and I was like, oh my God, who are you? Step back, please. And I was scared. And I said, could you please step behind me? And he stood behind me. And I said, I just need some help while I'm here. And he said, okay, he's going to help me, whatever. At the end of it, I could see him like I can see everybody else here. I could see his moustache, I could see everything. And at the end of it, he turned around and said to me, go downstairs and take a look at the picture that's in the room downstairs, and you'll see who I am. And I was like, okay. I went downstairs. I think it was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, his image was downstairs. There was a couple of other trustees around the building. And I was like, oh, whoa. But yet, ask and you shall receive, I just heard. So he was on my side, thankfully, and I got the position. But yeah, what you ask for, you'll get. And I think it's the human mind. You get, oh, did that really happen? And you question it. And especially 1 minute it's there, next minute it's gone. But do trust in it. That's what you saw. So that's brilliant. You're as a clairvoyant, you're seeing things. That's absolutely brilliant if that's what you want to do. When you're experiencing changes, I know you as a particular person, you're developing your psychic abilities, the work that you're doing, working with animals, you're going to have more of, it's like a vocabulary, as in the toddler starts to learn more and more and more, okay? And the more words, the more experiences that you're learning, you're going to experience a lot more now, okay? Which might sound very bizarre, what you've just said, in a sense to some people, that the younger soul version of your son, or seeing things very differently, these things can happen. It's like, okay, thank you, they just said, okay. It's like a pyramid of time, okay? And how we see things. As a human, we've been instructed to see it just from one dimension, the time span that we're living on now. But when you start doing more and more work of working on yourself intuitively, being aware of how they just said time bends, there are fractures in it, there are many different sides to it. You can go anywhere with that, you can travel anywhere with that. So the more that you learn about how life is just not linear on this time frame, you'll be able to pop in and pop out of and see many different things, okay? So you'll also see fractures of others, like parts of individuals around you. You'll get to see into their timelines as well. So it sounds like you're working psychically, seeing their time frames, going backwards and forwards. But that is part of this psychic experience. This is what's happening for you. This is how you're going to start reading things. So when I talk to an individual in a session, I have them sitting in front of me, but I can also, when I'm checking in with my guides, I can look into their future of if they continue to live their lifeline on the same level. I can see what will happen to them. But there are many changes to the individual. There's many different choices and free wills, and I get to see the other side. It's a bit like there's a film called Sliding Doors. So the film Sliding Doors is that I think the character, they show you her catching the train and what happened about her going to work as regular, and then they showed her missing the train and what would be different. So working psychically, you get the opportunity to go into the souls, to have a little look at their journey. I know when I work in the Akashic Records, I get to see, feel and hear what happens to individuals and their soul blueprint and how it can be changed depending on who interacts in their life, who comes into their life, the decisions they make. So for you to see that, it's literally working as a psychic. You're actually going in and you're having a little look at that, and that's been shown to you. So not to be too alarmed. This is what's happening at the moment. Those who are psychic or psychic mediums, those who work with light energy, those who are working within the realms, the tarot readers, Akashic record readers, whatever it is, it's going to be ramped up really high at the moment. So you're going to see, it's like almost as if there's a thin veil, like the membrane. You're going to be able to see many parts of that. But that's because of you personally, the journey that you're on and the experiences that you've experienced. And you're working with your psychic abilities, so you're going to be able to have those experiences where you get the opportunities to see things. So it's not that, somebody said something to me the other day, and it's not that they thought they saw their child's death, but that was death of another part of them, that from a soul perspective of what they've let go of, and they've left it to one side, and then this rebirth of them, they've moved forward. So it's working cyclically, working with different energies. That's what's going on for you right now. So it's nothing to be alarmed or scared of or anything. It's just an experience just to, they just use the word, consume it, to take it in, to know that you can see other things for others around you, okay? And it's okay, they're saying, just work with it.